and I didn't know which way to turn. It's been 2 years now, and longer since your pa died. And I'm alive. I'm alive. And I need a husband. I need a father for you young and somebody to help me raise you good and proper. But how? How? Is a body to meet anyone, what with working all day and mending and sewing and children take care of? Besides, I would want a widow with 3 young ones anyhow. That's why I decided to go back to Elko. Your pa was a good man. You didn't know this, but I met your pa working in that saloon in Elko. I thought if I went back there that I might meet somebody like him. But I soon found out that that wasn't no use. Wasn't nobody measured up to Bud. I would have come back right away, but I thought that he'd be better off with you.
You're the one they needed, not me.
Lud, they say you killed a man. That isn't true, is it?
I didn't kill nobody, Ma.
Then why don't you talk?
If you didn't kill him, you have nothing to be afraid of.
Tell us what happened, Lud.
You saw him there? You saw Wiley?
I knew we were in Elko, Ma. And I needed some money to get there. So I stole Mrs. Barkley's music box and I sold it to Wiley. But in the street. And that's the last time I saw him. He was drunk, but he was fine.
And you have no idea who killed him?
No, ma'am. I only know that it wasn't me.
Did Lud say he saw anybody?
No. We're no better off than we were before. He doesn't have any idea who might have done it either.
The way O'Wiley was flashing that gold list around, it could have been anybody.
All the same, Lud could hang for it if the guilty party can't be found.
But you know, Jared, whoever killed Wiley wasn't after that gold. They wanted him dead.
Who'd want to kill that old man anyway? It doesn't make any sense.
You're right.
Heath, you said when you saw Wiley, he was on his way to the assay office.
That's what he said.
Well, now suppose, just suppose, that for once he was right, that he had struck it rich.
Jared? Heath?
George?
What can I do for you?
Wiley Griffin brought some ore in here the other day, didn't he?
That's right. He was in a big hurry. Wanted me to do the test right then and there.
Jared was just saying, wouldn't it be funny if after all these years he really did make a strike?
Make Jenny a mighty rich donkey. Anyway, did you run a test on him?
Well, he said he was coming in later that night, so I hurried up and did the test, but he didn't come.
I guess he was on his way here when it happened.
Yeah. Too bad. He was a nice old man. I guess that kid took his talk serious about his being rich, huh?
Yeah. Well, did you make out a report?
About the assay? I sure did.
You mind if we take a look at it?
Not at all. I have to keep a report on every assay, no matter what the result. It's government regulation, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty strict about that. 100% pure rock.
Just like all the other samples that old Wiley brought in. Oh, his hopes were big. But his luck was so bad. I never charged him. I just went ahead and made the tests and told him the bad news. Funny thing, though, he never believed me. Always claimed that I Made a mistake. Well, he always went away peaceable, though. Even if I couldn't convince him.
Well, thanks for your trouble, George.
Oh, no trouble at all. Glad to oblige.
We'll see, George.
Say, doesn't that sound like Jenny, Wiley's old donkey?
Yeah. Sole survivor to a sack full of rocks.
What do you say we buy her and turn her out to pasture?
What do you mean? Establish a foundation for bereaved donkeys?
Well, why not?
Well, I guess that's the least we could do for old Wiley. Let's go. Anybody here? Jeff? Well, Jenny, old girl, looks like you're going to spend your last days in Clover after all. Come on out here. Let's take a look at you. Well, come on, Jenny. Kind of stubborn, isn't she? I wonder how old Wiley got her to move.
Seems to me he always had a handful of sugar. Kept it in these packs here. I'll see if there's any left.
Yeah, let's appeal to her sweet tooth, see if we can make friends.
Well, what do you know? Here's a piece of old Wiley's Bonanza.
Yeah? What's the matter?
What do you make of that?
A lot heavier than it looks, isn't it?
Looks like tellurium.
It sure does. Look how it's all seeded in here like mustard.
Jared, I think it's gold. Oh, George. Sorry to bother you again. I was just wondering about that ore that Wiley brought in the other day. Did he say where he dug it up?
Not that I recollect.
Well, you know, the night before Wiley was killed, I was talking to him, and he told me he'd been up on the Tuolumne.
Well, that's a long river. Could be almost any place. Why do you ask?
Oh, well, you know how Wiley was always crowing about how he'd struck it rich.
Yeah, well, that was just talk. Nobody believed him.
Oh, I know, but I got some old kind of fool notion that, just suppose that he had tapped into that mother lode. There must be millions of dollars worth of gold up there somewhere. And I thought if I could just locate his diggings, I'd just kind of poke around a little bit.
Well, you'd just be wasting your time.
Well, maybe you're right. I forgot, George. I was just curious about this rock. What would you say that is?
Well, it looks like just another piece of rock to me.
Well, wouldn't you say it looked like tellurium?
Lots of rock. Looks like tellurium.
Yeah, but that yellow, seated there in that crack, wouldn't you say that looked like gold?
Yeah. Fool's gold, maybe.
And we wouldn't really know until you ran a test on it.
If you leave it here, I'll get to it as soon as I can.
Well, I'd kind of like to get it done now. I know you're busy, but I'll be willing to pay extra.
Well, whatever you say.
Good. Say, that sack of ore that Wiley brought in, it should still be around here somewhere.
It's over there on top of that pile. It's got a tag with his name on it.
Well, that must be a mistake. I want the sack of ore that looks like that.
Well, all he brought in was the rock.
No, that's what he brought in. Fell out of his pack. George, I've worked in mines, and I've seen a lot of ore like that. And it should assay out to about 5% pure gold. You killed him, didn't you? And you were going to let Ludd hang for it. And after a while, you were going to file on Wiley's claim.
Drop it, George.
Wiley brought in a sack full that was practically pure gold.
He must have made the mistake of telling him where the claim was.
Somewhere up on the Tuolumne.
Like George says, that's a long, long river. Could be almost anywhere.
Dang! 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 Ma! Ma, let's go! Ma!
Blood. Oh. It's good. It's good to be together again. Heath, come in, please. Oh, Heath, I wanted to thank you, Ma. Would you tell her for me that there just aren't words enough?
I'll do that. But the next time you decide to leave town, don't send a message. Deliver it yourself. Might save a lot of trouble.
Might save a lot of trouble.
Well, there's one thing for sure, and you can count on this. I'll never leave my young'uns again. If there's a man for my family, it'll have to be somebody right here in Stockton.
Ma, I'm gonna try and get a job. Help you all I can. I think I can work at the grocery store.
Well, now, that's a job for a boy, not a man. You know, one of our line riders quit this week. I was just thinking maybe you could get Nick for the job.
Well, you think he'd hire me?
Well, could be. If somebody put in a good word.